to say hello. Hi there, I'm Miss Christine, the Early Literacy Librarian of the New Orleans Public Library. Welcome to our Mid-City branch and welcome to Storytime today that will be all about music. Now, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love listening to music. All kinds of music. And I love dancing to music and I love singing along to music. Although I'm not the world's best singer, I think it's okay because I love having fun singing, especially when I'm singing with my children. So I thought I'd start off today with sharing a song with you that I sing with my boys during our bedtime routine every night, and that is What a Wonderful World. And the words are by George David Weiss and Bob Thiele, and this book is beautifully illustrated by the very talented Ashley Bryan. And if you look right here, this is Louis Armstrong. And he is a very, very famous jazz musician who was born right here in New Orleans and lived right here in New Orleans. And he's most known for playing the trumpet right here and having such a unique singing voice that I won't try to mimic, but you may have heard him sing What a Wonderful World. And if you have, please join in singing with me today. And if you haven't, it's okay. You can just listen to the words and follow along with the pictures. And before I do get started, I want to thank Simon & Schuster Publishing Company for giving me permission to share this with everyone today. All right, so let's start singing What a Wonderful World. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The end. If you want to hear the version by Louis Armstrong, who's also known as Pops or Satchmo, you can visit NOLALibrary.org, search our catalog for one of his many CDs that we have in our collection, put it on reserve, and pick it up at our curbside service. Or you can check out our e-resource Freegal to download some of his music and that of other great jazz musicians like John Coltrane, who we will be reading about next. John Coltrane was another amazing jazz musician who also grew up in the South, but he played an instrument called the saxophone. And in this book, we're going to learn a little bit about the different sounds that John Coltrane heard when he was growing up and helped shape the kind of music that he would play to become such a great jazz giant. Now, this book is titled Before John Was a Jazz Giant, and it's written by Carole Boston Weatherford and illustrated by Qualls. And this one is actually found in our nonfiction collection, which I highly recommend sharing these types of books with your children because it helps them build their background knowledge, which will in turn help them understand what they are reading when they are able to read themselves. Okay, so let's get started. And first, thank Macmillan Publishing Company for giving me permission to read this book to you. Before John Was a Jazz Giant, a song of John Coltrane. Before John was a jazz giant, he heard ham bones knocking in grandma's pots, Daddy strumming the ukulele, and Mama cranking the phonograph. Before John was a jazz giant, he heard steam engines whistling past, Cousin Mary giggling at jitterbuggers, and Bojangles tap dancing in the picture show. Before John was a jazz giant, he heard Grandpa's Sunday sermons, Mama playing hymns for the senior choir, and the Scoutmaster's call to join a band. Before John was a jazz giant, he heard birds warbling at sunrise, the sobs of kinfolk at family funerals, and cheers as he marched in parades. Before John was a jazz giant, he heard big bands on the radio and a saxophone's soulful solo, blue notes crooning his name. Before John was a jazz giant, he picked up that horn, blew into the mouthpiece, pressed his fingers on the keys, and breathed every sound he'd ever known into a bold, new song. Before John was a jazz giant, he was all ears. The end. So all those different sounds that he heard were literally music to his ears. And I encourage you to pay close attention to all the sounds that you hear throughout the day and try to come up with your own music. Now, this last book that I want to share with you is actually another song that I sing with my boys during our bedtime routine every night, and it is This Little Light of Mine. And it is illustrated by E.B. Lewis and published by Simon & Schuster Publishing Company, so I want to thank them again for giving me permission to read this to you today. And it is actually an African-American spiritual with such beautiful words of hope and inspiration. So again, if you've heard the song before, please join in singing with me. And if you haven't, it's okay. You can just listen to the words and follow along with the pictures that actually tell a story themselves. So this little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Won't let no one blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let no one blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let no one blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.